We are eternally fond of this actor who stars as Kingo in the epic new Marvel film Eternals and will be appearing on the new Disney Plus Star Wars series Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the actor who portrays Athena cast a spell on us in 2 films as the wickedly wonderful Maleficent and lent her voice to last year's fantastic Disney Plus film, The One and Only Ivan. Please welcome to the show Kumail Nanjiani and Angelina Jolie.
Yay! Let's get into it. So, Kumail, your Bollywood moves were amazing. What was the rehearsal process like for that scene?
I started working with the dance teacher choreographer. Her name's Nalika, months before it because I was terrified. And then the actual rehearsal, so we had a gym in the studio and I walked in and there were 50 South Asian dancers there. And, to go from not having many South Asian people in these movies at all to suddenly over 50 of them in one scene, I got really emotional seeing them all there. It was really, really beautiful. And we all really, bonded. They bought out a theater and are going to a meeting this weekend. Yeah. It's really exciting. And so then it was just sort of working with them and they were really, they were excited to be part of the movie, but they also really went out of their way to make me feel comfortable because they're professional dancers and I'm not. So it honestly ended up being a very joyful experience.
Amazing. Angelina, how were you asked about taking on the role of Athena, and what did you think when you first heard about the character?
Well, I didn't know as much about the character. What's interesting about this one is I think Kumail and I were the 2 early ones on, but they told us that it would be, that the goal of it would be a bit of a love letter to humanity, was this thought, and that it would be the most diverse group of superheroes you've ever seen, not because it's checking a box, because it's the only way the story can be told to accurately represent the world we live in. And so that just felt so right that I wanted to be a part of that family. And then I would slowly learn about my character, but they tell you in pieces as it grows. You don't see a script. You're not sure what weapon you have.
Oh, wow.
You don't know a lot going in.
So going into that, Kumail, I have to ask, there's this huge climactic scene where the Eternals and the New Celestial Tiamat all linked together, and Kingo seems to not be around. So
yeah, Kingo.
Can you explain? Where did he go? I'm not sure what you can tell us, but where was he?
He had a movie to wrap, the first one of a trilogy. Actually, I talked to Chloe about that a lot because it is such a non-standard decision for him to make in the context of a superhero movie, right? It's always like the group gets together, at the end, they all fight the thing. Mm-hmm. Chloe really wanted him to leave because she felt that his perspective, she feels, was the only moral one. Because the movie comes down to 2 sort of different perspectives, right? Intellectually, you understand that perhaps the moral thing to do is to let Earth go because then 1 billion more Earths will come, right? So that's the intellectual way to look at it. Emotionally, it's these people did not choose to be killed. They deserve to live. They should live. And everybody in the movie has one of those 2 perspectives. And she says Kingo is the one who has both perspectives because he understands intellectually that perhaps the right thing to do is to follow the Celestials' mission, but he says he won't fight his family to do it. So he kind of encompasses both perspectives. So to her, it was very important that he not return. I think a lot of people watched the movie thinking he was going to come back in the final fight, pew, pew, pew. I will say, I completely agree with her, but at the end, when Angie and everybody else is hanging out at the beach celebrating, it kind of felt like seeing a picture of when your friends are hanging out without you. You're like, oh, you guys went to Hawaii? Nobody told me.
Well, you both have a lot of action scenes. Did you train? Did it come easy? Were there any funny missteps?
I trained in ballet because I watched the other Marvel films and everybody's just done such an amazing job. And I wanted to try to bring something different to Athena. And so I thought to make her as female, as long and soft and, because as written, she's the strongest fighter. She's the toughest. So I thought I countered it and I tried not to think about that. I tried to make her as graceful as I could, not as strong. Yes, I love my fight scenes, and I love that I get every weapon. I feel like the luckiest Marvel fighter that I get to manifest everything.
We loved your fight scenes too, for what it's worth.
Thank you.
I will say it was really wonderful to watch Angie because she obviously had put in a lot of time. I didn't know about the ballet lesson. So you had not taken ballet before preparing for this movie?
Mm-mm.
I know she worked really, really hard on all the fight scenes. And, you know, there's a couple fight scenes that I'm there for. And people don't understand how difficult it is. She's manifesting weapons. So we don't see those weapons, you know, but she does. And it can look a little... It has the potential to look goofy in person, but she was so good that even in person, you could see the swords, even though they weren't there, you know? It was really inspiring for me to watch how much of her character she reveals through her physicality, because I think she made the decision that she's not a very verbal character. So much of her personality comes out in her body. And the work that she did, each time I watch it, I've seen the movie 4 times now. I'm always sort of blown away by all the work you did. All your silhouettes and stuff are so cool.
Oh, thank you.
Angelina, have to ask, because we are Disney, who do you think would win in a battle? Would it be Athena or Maleficent?
Ooh.
These are the things we ponder.
That's really funny. I think they'd get along really well.
Good answer.
I guess it's hard. I mean, yeah. You know, the thing is, Athena likes to fight. I'm not sure Maleficent does. Maleficent's kind of looking for peace, and Athena's just completely. Well, maybe they both are. God, now you've got me like my psychological. I'm in therapy now. Which one am I? And what makes them similar is probably the answer to my psychological makeup. Yeah, impossible to think about.
Fair enough.
Great question, Jeffrey. Wow.
I'd like the fans to tell me, actually. You always want to hear from the fans on this one, what they would like to see us do, or who they'd like to see us come in contact with in the MCU. Now that we're in it, I'm very curious who they want us to. I think Kingo and Athena haven't had enough play, because we were saying, like, one of us is very physical, one of us is very verbal, one of us is very, an extrovert, one of us is a bit of an introvert. We're kind of perfect opposites.
I think we would make a really good pairing. And I'm so glad you said it to Kevin at the after party for the premiere. You were like, what about the 2 of us?
Yeah, we'd be so good.
I couldn't agree more.
We're pushing.
I love it. Well, we touched on this a little bit, but as we all have come to know, there's a lot of secrecy involved in anything Marvel. I have to ask the both of you, were you able to read the entire script, or were there parts in the final film that even surprised the 2 of you when you saw it?
There was a final script, but I don't know if that's just secrets or also all the individual character development that everybody was doing as it was going along. So you would be surprised by your fellow actors, or something they added, some choice that was made that just made something more than you'd expect. I mean, I went into it still not sure what the end was going to be. I knew what happened to me in the end, but then I was surprised at what happened to some of the other people in the end. I had no idea. I had no idea what happened to the other group in the end until I saw the movie, and then I was...
Well, this is what happens is you guys are flying around space on a spaceship with one direction, and the rest of us have been taken captive by the strongest being in the universe. So
Right. I think I got the better side of that one.
I think you did. We're like, oh, Kevin, come and rescue. Look at the size of this guy. How do you like sneak up behind him? We had a version of the full script. It kept evolving because, as Angie said, characters kept developing. I was surprised by your ending. I did not know that you guys shot that thing on the ship at the end.
Right. And I didn't know until about 4 hours, no, like 12 hours before I shot the ship at the end. And I was trying to figure out who was there and what happened to everybody else.
Yeah, which is what your characters are trying to do. Because you shot a thing of you sort of floating in with Arisham, right? Did you shoot that?
No, I've never been with Arisham.
You never shot that.
No.
Wow, that's so surprising. So I had no idea how it was going to end.
Wow. Okay, well, going back to Maleficent for a sec, Angelina, while the character of Maleficent was always a fan favorite, you really made her kind of this sympathetic anti-hero. Did you feel that, or would you ever return to that character?
Maleficent, I love playing Maleficent. She's like my alter ego. And what was quite beautiful about it is because those of us who I can be a bit dark and edgy in certain things in my life and misunderstood. And so taking a character that's like that and bringing her into the light and allowing her to be other things and be accepted by those who watched it and supported it as that you can have those kind of people with that kind of complexity, that darkness, and also understand that they're capable of, I think for all of us underdogs or we kind of, those who live a little bit in the, I always say it's like the kids under the bleachers, we sometimes we are capable of a lot more, but sometimes we don't get that space and we're not allowed that space. And so I feel like we brought her forward. But what was interesting is when I was first playing it, one of the reasons my daughter's in the first movie as the little Aurora is because kids only knew the Maleficent from the animated film. And when I would meet where I was like 8 foot tall with my contacts and teeth and everything, I would meet with the little 4 or 5 year olds. They got so frightened of me.
Oh,
I mean, really terrified.
Oh, no.
I had to like back up and leave there was one I saw and I've never seen anybody like frozen with fear. It was terrible. So it really was interesting to see that. And then later I would meet little kids and they would hug me and realize it's her. So it was a big like 180.
oh,
Mission
wow.
accomplished.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you wanted to achieve with that character.
Yeah, that they saw that she wasn't all that they thought she was. So yeah, that was good. I don't like terrifying children.
Good to know.
Me, on the other hand, I can get a kick the scream Jay made.
Oh yeah. But it's like the good Marvel villains are actually not really, you understand where they're coming from. That's why they're so compelling. So they become more anti-heroes, which I think similar with Maleficent.
We did an interview. I was with Kip doing an interview and somebody asked us, is Icarus good or bad? And I think it's the same to the complexity of the reason why you left in the end, right? It's very complicated. And to have little kids questioning, well, it's just not that simple, right? Life, you will find that it isn't just good or bad. And that is something to start to think about.
Yeah, and the movie really sets up this duality of sort of how traditional superheroes define morality versus how this movie in many ways defines morality. It sort of becomes like duty versus compassion, dogma versus community. I feel like each time I watch the movie, I find like new things, and there are no easy answers. Like even if you look at Crow, right, who's the most like traditionally monstrous, he gives this really beautiful speech where he says, you are not saviors, you're murderers. You've been killing my kind for centuries. And that's exactly right. That's his perspective. And you kind of feel bad for him. There's another little moment where Karan, who is my valet, played by Harish Patel, who's amazing in the movie.
Amazing.
He sees the dead deviant and he says, it's a beautiful creature. And to me, that moment it really hits me every time because it's like, it is a beautiful creature. And we've just been killing them for thousands of years. Is that right? Probably not. But otherwise, they would kill other people. So it's all complicated.
Well, switching to happier things. Kumail, there's great photos of you at Avengers Campus. Angelina, I'm pretty sure that you've taken the family to Disneyland a few times. Disneyland faves. What do you guys love about the park?
I'll say I went recently and Rise of the Resistance is like the best ride ever.
Oh, is that the one where you're in the ship?
Oh, that's the Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run.
I like that one.
This one is like 25 minutes long or something. Like you get taken in the middle and there's a bunch of stormtroopers and kids started crying. And the mom was like, mom was playing along. The kid's mom was playing along. I'm sure Finn is on his way. He's going to come rescue us.
Oh my God, that's great.
At some point, she just had to be like, it's just actors in masks. It's nothing.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I love it. Now when you have kids and then they grow up, so it's nostalgic. It becomes nostalgic, right? We remember the first time they watched certain things when they were very little, and then you kind of come back again, and it brings you back to that time where you step out of a certain reality and into a different place where it's fantasy and it's magic and it's fun. But I definitely think there's the memories and the nostalgia do something to you as a family that's very beautiful.
Well, we end every interview with the same question, and you two cannot go without answering it. We have to ask your favorite Disney memory.
Wow.
God.
Honestly, this is going to be weird.
Oh God, I just realized tomorrow.
Okay, go ahead. You go first.
No.
I'll say mine really quickly. I've seen Sleeping Beauty so many hundreds of times, over and over and over and over, and really was in love with Maleficent.
Aw,
Wow.
I didn't ruin her for you.
No, it was great to see another side. I'm such a fan of that character, so I was thrilled. We actually went to, I don't know if you remember this, when Maleficent 2 premiered in London while we were shooting, and Emily and I went to see it.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh, I love that.
I love that. Well, then, so if there is another one, we're gonna have to play.
Yeah.
I have good memories, but I
What's
was
your favorite.
I was arrested and sent to Disney jail.
Really?
No way.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I knew this was going to be a good one.
That's amazing.
don't know
Go
what else
on.
to say.
Dare we even ask what you were doing? Can we put it on a Disney podcast? I don't know.
And I hope this wasn't in the last like
No, but what's
It was
funny
2
is I
weeks
felt
ago.
like I was banned from the park, and I didn't really return until I returned as Maleficent, and it felt like a very good, like, evil queen hero return.
Wow.
That's
Very
wonderful.
fitting.
I was a young teen, and I was being disruptive and kind of got warned and did it again and somewhere else, and then it was eventually sent to Disney jail, where I was asked not to come back.
oh.
Oh my gosh. But the way you came back.
But then I came back with a vengeance.
We'll say, listeners, please never do that. Please.
Yeah, never do that. It's not. Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't do it. I know, and I'm sorry to Disney, and I've paid my dues.
We definitely think you've more than redeemed yourself for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both so much for joining us. We really love the movie, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you
This
guys.
is
Oh,
so fun. Thanks for joining me in my closet.
You got some good stuff there.
I know.
all right.
Best story ever. Oh my gosh. Take care, everyone.
Awesome.
Bye.